North Korea, Kim Jong Un. He he wants to launch a preemptive nuclear strike on America. He's not happy with us because of some military stuff going on over there. They just ripped up the truce with South Korea, which I guess means the North Korean-South Korean war is back on. So, you know, I guess the Korean vets are going to be in some trouble. What do we think about this? Because it seems crazy. Like, everyone was sort of laughing. I was watching mainstream news. Everyone, oh, yeah, North Korea is going to nuke us, you know? And everyone's laughing about it. But should we take this kind of stuff seriously?
I think Kim Jong Un announcing that we're going to be at nuclear war, or he's going to have nuclear war against the United States, is like Cher announcing she's going to retire. It's never actually going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, we're not ever going to get to that point. So I am fascinated by this man. I'm fascinated by this country. And I think I totally am in favor of the sanctions being put again. And I also think it's really interesting that China's going along with these UN sanctions, which is telling in terms of
they're closer to where the nuclear material is.
Well, yeah, so. But even then, I mean, I think China is even learning, as probably because of money, but they're learning that it doesn't benefit them to keep supporting this country. They're trying to kill out this country, and the country's letting themselves die, I think. I mean, Kim Jong Un is killing his people, and China's now realizing we need to abandon ship on you guys. I mean,
what do you make of this kind of like over-the-top rhetoric? They're obviously, first off, they don't have missiles that they can attach this stuff to, so everyone's saying at best they could create some sort of, you know, dirty bomb situation. Yeah. But what do you think of just the rhetoric and the level of, you know, saber rattling and all that?
Typically, you know, it's discussed as, well, you know, they're just trying to get more attention, you know, because when they do these huge threats that, you know, that saber rattling, like you said, that they actually then get the United States to come sit down and, okay, give us some more aid, give them some more money, help them to just basically get the attention that they want. And now that, you know, Kim Jong Un, I think as it is this time, it's hard to keep him straight, that he's actually trying to cement his position in the media at home and abroad as well. I think it's really interesting that China is getting involved in this. It's like a psychological thriller in a way, because you get to find out this crazy guy, and why is he doing this? Because he knows he can be wiped off the map. So.
And ironically, and I think this is what you were alluding to, China can't have us get nuked because then they wouldn't be able to call in the debt.
Exactly.
So, Adam, I have a feeling that you think that this has something to do with Dennis Rodman. Am I right?
Well, I heard that after hanging out with Robin, they're going to be both on Celebrity Rehab next year. But I was going to say, who would have thought that a Korean guy's missile couldn't reach its destination because they have the small penises?
Okay, small penis. Okay. It's the Twitter feed. Adam Hunter the comic?
Adam Comedian.
Adam Comedian.
But I was a big fan of this guy's music with Gangnam Style. I don't know why.
I just think it's telling that our president's hanging out with Jay-Z and he's hanging out with Dennis Rodman. Like, you know, we're definitely winning in this situation on every front.
Well, we gave him Dennis Rodman. What more does he want?
What more?
Would you want him to stay?
Well, you know, it's funny. I was watching Celebrity Apprentice a couple nights ago, and Dennis Rodman is now on Celebrity Apprentice. And despite the lunatics that he's on that show with, like Gary Busey and the rest of these overly plastic surgery people, he still comes off as the craziest one. And that's the guy that we sent with the Globetrotters.
It's like the Lakers having like Ron Artest as a normal one.
Right,
exactly. World Peace is the normal one. That's how bad Kobe and Dwight Howard are.
What do you guys make of that? That we send these people? I mean, we literally sent Dennis Rodman and the Globetrotters to North Korea to somehow.
No, it was
the State Department was very clear saying that
they
did not have anything to do with this.
The
State Department was.
How does one get to North Korea?
They were doing a documentary on HBO.
Yeah.
And like the Harlem Globetrotters were going to the Philippines and doing this whole thing. They were following them around or something like that, and they ended up in Korea. I'm not sure exact, but I know that it was part of an HBO show.
It was money.
Well, I guess the point here is that we're talking about nukes and Dennis Rodman in the same story, and that's bizarre.
I think that North Korea and South Korea should have a big game of Dance Dance Revolution.
I think
because
that's great.
if you go to the arcade, it's all Asian people. They're just dancing on that, and I think that dance diplomacy would.
I would love to see Hillary Clinton do that. That'd be so much fun.
I knew you were going to get a Hillary.
I had to.
Hillary.
Oh, by the way, back to like four topics ago.
Point on this
one. Four topics ago. Different one. If a terrorist others on U.S. soil, the drones, I don't mind. Not U.S. citizens droning attacks. Just to get, because if it was a foreign terrorist hanging out at like Applebee's, I wouldn't mind a drone just fucking.
But it depends on what the definition of combat is.
Precisely. That's why it's who do you leave all this stuff up to? That's where the real discussion about all this is. Bonobos.com is the official outfitter of the Rubin Report. Get this shirt. Use code TRR20 at Bonobos.com.